Well, it's another beautiful morning here in Petaca, New Mexico. And Phil and I have come out for another adventure. And we're here at apparently it's called the Wyoming prospect over this direction. And over here, across the road, is apparently what's called the Conquistador. It's over that direction. We'll be checking out those prospects and quite a few others in this area, and it looks quite promising. And hopefully we're going to find some nice hot rocks.
I think you found some last night already.
So these are the specimens that I just pulled out here this morning, and I had about the same number, but even nicer last night. So I'll show them all to you once I get them washed off. So that's the hole where I was digging all these specimens out of the pod. And Phil was digging them just on the other side of this crater. You know, this was blown up by some prospector. And he found a single specimen over there.
All those other holes around here?
Yeah.
We probably need to come back with our own explosives.
Oh. And I found looks like 2 specimens in this hole. So I think what happened was this hole got blown up and that pod got dispersed down this way. So we might find some more specimens down this direction.
Yeah.
So across the way over there is where our cars are, and we were digging in the Wyoming prospect. This is supposedly the Conquistador prospect, and it's quite extensive. Got lots of tailings over here, and I think I found something in here someplace. Seems pretty localized. So let me see if I can dig it out of here. So I pulled out a couple little pieces here of monazite, apparently. One of them's got pretty nice crystal form. And I think that Phil over here has found... Have you found monazite as well?
Yep. Little pieces.
Okay. So we came up the hill to Keystone Mine, and it's quite extensive. There's a lot of tailings all around here, and I really wasn't finding much, but I seem to have found something here. So let me see what I've got. So I can tell that it's right over here someplace. Try not to get right on top of it, risk breaking it. There's one piece. So maybe into a pod here. But it sure does seem like it's localized. There it is. Another piece of monazite looks like. Now, I'm hoping there's a big one down here. Still just right in that direction. Well, I can hear that Phil has found a screamer. Is that a good one?
Hopefully.
This seems awfully localized. Well, it's a pretty big one. Well, yeah, but there's more down there. This is one of the screamers. Huh. All right, so this is another apparent piece of monazite, but the hole is not nearly as hot as it was. So there's another piece down here. Let's see how easy it is to get it out. Big root in the way. Okay. There it is. Oh, there's something else down there, but it's probably just another piece of this monazite. So I think I've got enough out of this hole. And yeah, we'll see what else we can find. Okay, so I think we're fixing to call it a day.
Yeah.
How about you, Phil? Have you had enough?
Yeah, for today.
Okay. And I wanted to document the things that I found today. It's pretty pretty good day for me. We went to basically 4 different sites, and where we are camped right here, right up there is what is we're calling Wyoming. On the map, Wyoming is the closest thing to where we're at, and I found most of this stuff in one hole, and I think most of it is monosites, but some pretty good crystals and very interesting. This one in particular is very different. I believe that this is a columbite because it's not very hot, and based on the color, this is this massive sighting of columbite and this termination crystal coming out of the matrix. So that's a nice find. Probably the other one that is the most spectacular find is this one here. It's got this huge, really nicely faceted crystal, and then some twins coming out in front of it. So that is a very nice find. And then right across the road over here is what is apparently Conquistador. And I went over there briefly and found a hot spot and pulled out 2 specimens that I initially thought that they are monosite, but I'm not quite so sure. I'll have to get them home to test. They may be thorite based upon the lighter color. So that's interesting. Then we went up the road north of here, right? So then we went up the road to Sandoval, which is a very large area. And initially I didn't find much there, so I come back, but I walked up the hill to Apache. And Apache, I found a really nice hot spot and started pulling these specimens out. And I assumed that they were monosite, but now that I've got them cleaned off and all, I don't think that they are. They don't have the right color, and the growth pattern is very reminiscent of zircon certolite. You can actually see some of the little ways that it grows. It starts small and it grows out in a fan. So, and each one of these pieces is basically the same thing. It shows that fan pattern, and they all have these little crystal terminations on the top. So that's a pretty exciting find. If those are really zircon certolites, those are the biggest ones I've ever found. So that was really nice. And then I then came back down the hill a little bit to Sandoval, and this time I did find some stuff. Nothing spectacular. I think that this one has a columbite crystal over here, I believe, because it's not very hot. And as opposed to this one over here is a black glassy, and it is quite hot. So it for its size, it's quite hot. It's probably a euxenite. And then a couple of nice little monosites. So this is quite a productive day, and it's just the first of I don't know how many days we're going to be here, but hopefully we'll find a lot more stuff in the days to come. So after finding those 5 pieces of apparent zircon certolite, that's what I'm guessing they are, I decided to come back to the same hole and see if I can find some more, because it's still hot. So we'll see. I mean, it's very interesting if in fact they turn out to be zircon certolite, because I'm apparently into a pod, which is usually you find them individually. Never found a pod of these things before, and they're pretty rare to begin with. Nothing like monosite. Monosite is just all over the place. And columbite is all over the place. Euxenite, but This stuff is pretty rare. And the size, those are big specimens. Unfortunately, I've got some pretty heavy roots in here. Okay. But the weather has just been spectacular on this trip. We got here supposedly after a snowstorm. Okay, I probably have some. So I have some stuff right here in my tailings. I think I'll clear out my tailings here first. Down here it's nice and quiet. We already found a piece here. Just a fragment, but it's got the same, apparently the same growth pattern. So here's another piece. Yeah, I think this is the same stuff. Here it is. Well, this is a perfect place to be digging and sorting because I've got a real quiet spot. The pod is very localized, but then I can move the tailings away from the hole and find things. So it's really ideal for this type of activity. Okay, so there are evidently some little ones. Now, these are all probably individual crystals. All 5 that I got out before were nice, complete crystals, and evidently these are too, just smaller. And that's why I didn't bother to fish them out last time I was here. I just thought they were smaller pieces of monazite. Now I should have a nice quiet area. It's not nearly as hot as it was when I first dug in here. Now I would think that what I'm digging in here is degraded pegmatite. I mean, there are tailings all around here, and that evidently is a bunch of tailings, but the fact that all these things are packed into one tight pod tells me I'm probably digging in native soil at this point, right into the degraded pegmatite. Yeah, there's more stuff down there. Okay, well, this is going to take a while, so I think I'm going to turn off the camera and tell you what I find. So these are the pieces I was able to pull out this morning, and you can see they've got a similar growth pattern, these divergent striations, very similar to the other pieces. So I pretty much cleaned out this hole. It's still got something down there, but I don't think it's worth digging. It's getting very, very hard to dig. So I'm pretty satisfied that I've cleared out this pod. So we were just up the hill at Apache. That's where I was digging in that pod of zircon sertolites, evidently. And I decided to come down to the road to Sandoval, which is evidently all these pits. And 2 days ago I was here and I was digging in that hole and pulled out a few specimens and a couple of holes around here. But this one looks promising. So I think I'm gonna try digging it next. So this is the first piece that came out of there. Looks like a piece of monazite. So I continue digging here in the road, basically. I keep finding a bunch of small monazites, little pods of monazites, and but this hole is wicked hot, much hotter than the others, and I'm hoping it's a big specimen rather than a pod of little monazites. But it's gotten hot quite fast, which gives me hope that it's a nice specimen. We put it in manual squelch mode so it won't continue to reset itself. Okay, so I'm going to set the squelch over here where it's quiet. Okay. So, hoping I'm not just going to get into some matrix, but you never know. Oh. Yeah, I've moved it. There it is. Oh, it's just a, oh man. It's a piece of monazite that's really crumbly. Well, I'll use that as that's just the mud around it. No, that was just the crumbly mud around it. This is a nice piece. Looks to be nice terminations and some facets on it. Let me make sure that's it. More. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see. There's something else here. There it is. Okay, it's its twin brother over here. Okay. Anything else here? Okay, that appears to be it. This is just what I was looking for. So this is the first one that I pulled out of the hole. It's a very nice terminated prismatic piece. And this is the second one I pulled out. Looks like it's a chip off of something. And then this was another piece that I pulled out of another hole up there, but it's quite hot, so it's probably, oh, well, I don't know what it is. Well, it was a productive morning, as you can see, and there were some surprises this morning. I'll start with mine because I have a little story to tell. I actually previously had disclosed some of these big pieces of what I think are zircon sertolites. And so I suggested to Phil, we should go back up to Apache because I'd like to continue digging in the hole to see if I could find some more pieces. And sure enough, I found a few more pieces. I forget which one they are, the smaller pieces probably. And so I got back here and started piecing them together. And lo and behold, this one turns out to be a perfect fit. And that pretty much completes this crystal. So this is a complete zircon sertolite crystal. So that was a nice outcome. And then I went further back down the hill to Sandoval, and I got into a lot of mainly monazites, a few columbites, but mainly monazites, and a few of them are quite nice crystals. I showed you this one earlier, and this one's a nice twin. So yeah, these are some nice monazites. Phil started off a little rough this morning. He only found a few pieces, but then he found a columbite placer, and that's where. Do you want to explain how that works, Phil?
Yeah. So the pegmatite gets really old and worn out, and all these big crystals get displaced probably by gravity, and they were in
water.
They were in a very fine.
Yeah, they get washed out with water, and gravity pulls them downhill.
Yeah, clay-like, very easy to dig up particles. Yeah.
So we found these columbite placers at other places, most notably at North Star. But these were just spread all over the place in a field. And how long did it take you to collect these? What, you've got 25 or so pieces?
Not that long. They're very shallow, but they're just barely above background. So
you just
I tried yelling after you a
yeah.
bunch of times, and I was cackling because I can't believe how many there are there.
So this took you maybe an hour to collect all these? or not even.
I wasn't tracking the time.
Yeah, but yeah, you're just running around finding hot spots and probably digging up some of these with your boot. So
Yeah.
a lot of them show signs of growing up against mica. You can see all these ridges and things. But yeah, this is typical columbite for this area, and these probably all came out of a single pod that got exposed, got weathered out, and then over the eons they've just washed down the hillside. So anyway, that's an exciting discovery.
I think that makes a lot of sense because this was the middle wash, and then there were washes on both sides, and I couldn't really pick up much rocks on either side, just in the middle.
Okay. So anyway, that was a nice adventure this morning that we have. You never know when you start out the day and you go someplace, you never know how it's going to work out. But this is quite exciting.
Yeah, we definitely found hot rocks with those gamma dogs.
Okay. So we've come back to this columbite placer at Sandoval, and looking for these columbites is a little bit different because even though they can be large, the signal is quite weak, and it takes a sensitive instrument to find it. And you have to be like I was starting to get a signal. Let me see. Reset my squelch over here. I was starting to get a signal over here, but it wasn't until I got over here that I got a hit for sure. And of course, I always give it the boot test just to make sure. So it gets immediately a lot hotter. So I know there's one right down there. So let me just see if I can pull it out here pretty quickly, because these things have been pretty shallow. Let's see. Well, it's still down there. Okay, good. I think I feel it down there, but I'm gonna have to put the phone down in order to, yeah, that's it down there. It's hard to do this with one hand, but these things, let's see if I can get under it and pry it out of there. There it goes. There we go. I think that's it. That's a nice size one. Yeah, that's a nice size one. So that's how it starts off. A weak signal a couple of feet away over there. And you just keep following up on it. And if your instrument is sensitive and you can differentiate between the weak signals, yeah, that's what you end up with, a nice columbite. So what's on the menu tonight?
We're gonna have, I think these are 2 New York strips or 2
New York strips, yeah,
and
and
instant potatoes, and we'll
and-
use some,
and why are you cooking them on the side?
just to crisp up the fat. We got a really hot pan.
Huh.
We dried up the meat
Seasoned it.
for 40 minutes.
40 minutes exactly. Well, not a minute too long.
And then we'll use some of that wine after to make a sauce.
Wow.
To put on the potatoes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's gonna be good.
Ooh, I can smell it already.
Yeah.
So we're at the Bluebird number 2, otherwise known as Rainbow Mine, and Phil found a hot spot and called me down into this wash here. And so I just came, all the tailings are up there. We weren't finding much up there, but came down in this wash, and he says he's got a hit down there. And so I started looking around, and think I've got a pretty good one right here as well. So let me see what Bluebird number 2 has to offer. It sounds pretty promising. If it's real close to the surface, it could be a monocyte, or it could be a euxenite buried kind of deep. Okay, sounds like it's over here. So today we're meeting up with David Culp, who lives, an hour and a half or so away from Petaca. And so he's up here quite frequently, and he knows his way around. So it's always good to meet him up here. Oh, I got it. Oh, there's another one down here. Okay. What is this? Huh. Well, it's kind of dark and striated. It's a pretty crystal. I would say by how hot it is, it's got to probably be euxenite. Yeah, it's got some pretty crystal growth in there. Let me see if we can find its evil twin. Maybe it's all one piece. This is the kind of hole that's fun to dig because it's really quiet. So I got something in here. It's not very strong. Oh. this wall over here. What's that?
Good finds?
I think I found a piece of euxenite in here.
Nice.
And there's more pieces. Uh-oh. Did it just fall off? It fell off the pad. Another piece of that black glassy. Okay. Okay, here it is. Yet another piece of apparently the same mineral. The dogs are making a cameo appearance. Rojo is a camera hog. What was that?
I'm up here on the hillside. I got a good localized hit.
Good. Well, this is diminishing returns here. There's probably another small piece down there, and it's also getting difficult to dig in the bottom of this pit here. So it's probably something in matrix down there. So I'm gonna kind of call it quits. And right up there are where I found my specimens so far, but I followed this wash down a little bit and didn't get any hits, so I started coming back up the side, and there's a pile of tailings here, and I think I've got a hit in there. I was going to see if I could move it with just my boot here. It's either going to get a lot hotter. Let's see here. Oh, I think I've moved it. Yep, I've moved it. Let me see if I can. Pick it out of here. Something in here. Oops. Well. I thought it would be easy to pick out of here. But obviously not a very big piece. It's kind of elusive. This, I've got another hot spot here. That happens a lot. Well, okay. So there may be something else in here, but this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. So this is what was making all that racket. So there's apparently a forest fire, and where we were camped, we didn't know where it was going to come through there or not. So I got out of there as quickly as I could to get back here to the road, to the main road. So I had some options, and I thought the other two guys were right behind me, but for some reason they're still back there, and I wanted to make sure that I got out of there with my dogs, and I left everything that I couldn't just throw in the back real quick. So I'm not quite sure what to do, whether to try to go back, and because it looks like that by the smoke and the wind that it's kind of coming from left to right and maybe a little bit in my direction. So that would be away from the campsite. So yeah, this is pretty scary. So we initially went down to the little settlement of Petaca and warned the residents there that there was a fire up here. But one of the guys, Dave, actually went to look at the fire and reported that it was just on the forest floor. And so we came back here and have since found out that supposedly the Forest Service is on site. And so we're just hunkering down here on the main road. This is 45 at the intersection of 104. And we're just going to hunker down for a while and see if the flames go out. That would be the ideal situation. The wind is blowing toward us, away from our campsite. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So the fire truck has arrived. It looks like they're going to cordon off the road there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, we've got a kind of a vortex going there. Hopefully once again that's them putting it out. Ooh, I see what looks to me like flames.
What? Oh shit.
Or the color is changed underneath of it. Hopefully it's not cresting. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Or maybe it's just the color of the flame retardant.
Yeah, it could be a lot of steam.
Hopefully that's just a lot of steam and flame retardant. Huh.
What makes it go up so much?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I would think
I'm
maybe
thinking-
a fire could.
I'm thinking heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, they told us we had to break camp because the fire isn't completely out yet. But our camp was right over there. There comes Phil down the hill. And so we're headed out. So this is the area, and it was evidently just burning the ground cover, the needles and stuff. So good thing that we were here to report this, because otherwise it could have gotten a lot worse. And so yeah, it's a shame we have to cut our trip short, but all in all, it was a grand adventure, and I hope you enjoyed it.